Good morning, kindergartners. It's Miss Kelly here again today for the Writing Center. Today I want to talk to you about what writers write and how do they know to write that. Whenever you hear a song on the radio, or if you're watching your favorite movie, or you're reading your favorite book, those were all ideas that someone had in their head and then they decided to make it. So they had that idea for the movie, they had that idea for the song, they had that idea for the book. And all of that happened inside their head before they decided to make it. So some of the things that writers write are stories, poems, songs, notes, emails, reminders, letters. There are so many things that a writer can write. So today I want to talk to you about how they decide to write it and what is the best way to come up with something to write. So we are going to read a book. This book is called The Best Story by Eileen Spinelli. All right, let's listen.
We are reading The Best Story by Eileen Spinelli today, so I hope you enjoy. The Red Brick Library was having a contest. Write the best story, win first prize. First prize was a ride on the super duper looper roller coaster with my favorite author, Anne Miles, who wrote the Runaway Roller Coaster. Wow! First prizes didn't get any better than that. I ran home, went to my room, shut the door, sharpened 5 pencils, opened my notebook to a brand new page, and thought, and thought, and thought. And all I could think of was this writing stuff was hard and lonely. Maybe I needed help. I told my brother Tim about the contest. The best stories, said my brother Tim, have lots of action. So I wrote a lot of action into my story. I wrote about a bus hurtling down a highway with no one at the wheel. I added a tornado, a pirate, and a great white shark. But the story didn't seem quite right. So I asked my dad, and he said, the best stories have plenty of humor. So I changed the great white shark to a monkey, and I put the monkey at the wheel of the bus. And I turned the tornado into turnips, and I dressed the pirate in polka-dotted pajamas. Dad laughed so hard he popped a shirt button. But even so, this story didn't feel quite right either. Along came Aunt Jane. What are you doing? She asked. I'm writing a story, the best story, for a contest at the library. I can win a roller coaster ride with my favorite author. Ah, well then, said Aunt Jane. Here's all you need to know. The best stories are the ones that make people cry. So I gave the bus a flat tire, and I sent the monkey to the funeral of his pet goldfish. I turned the turnips into onions, and I made that pirate chop every one. There were lots of tears, but the story still wasn't right. My teenage cousin Anika said, I have news for you. If it's not romantic, it's a loser. So, the pirate introduced the monkey to his sister Grace, and they fell in love. And I turned the onions into wedding invitations, and everyone lived happily ever after. Finally, my story was ready, so I read it to my family. Not enough action, said my brother Tim. Maybe the monkey can fall into the wedding cake, said Dad. That would be really funny. It's hard to cry at a wedding when the groom is a monkey, said Aunt Jane. Anika said it would be perfect if I added a kiss. In all this time, my mother hadn't said a word, so I asked her, what do you think is the best story? She gave me a hug. I think the best story is one that comes from the heart, your own heart. That night, after supper, I looked into my own heart, and I rewrote my story. No more monkey, no more pirate, no more wedding invitations, no more happily ever after. My new best story is about my family and my 2 best friends, Tara and Josh. It's about my cat, Ollie, who sleeps on his back, and snow days and toast with strawberry jam. It's about fireworks and rainbows and bike rides. My biggest problem was keeping the story short. Once I started pulling things out of my heart, it was hard to stop. When my story was finished, I turned it into the judges. Maybe I'll win that roller coaster ride with Ann Miles, and maybe I won't. Either way, I'll be happy. I'll be a winner, because the story I wrote is my own, not somebody else's, and that's what makes it the best. Oh.
All right, kindergartners. I hope you enjoyed that story. Now, I want to ask you a few questions. So, in that story, the girl was thinking of all these different ideas of things that she could write. But what did her mom say made the best kinds of stories? Do you remember? It was a story that came from her heart. So when we write from our heart, that means that we really have something that we really, really love and we want to share it with other people. And so when you do that, you use a lot of emotion in your writing. And whenever you get emotion in your writing, you make other people really love it and really care about it too. So that's why the best stories are ones that come from the heart. So what I want you to do today for our writing activity is I want for you to grab your notebook, our writing notebook again. And I want for you to open it to the next page. And we are going to write about things that we either know a lot about or something that we love. So maybe you know a lot about superheroes, maybe you know a lot about cartoons, maybe you know a lot about animals, maybe you know a lot about princesses, maybe you know a lot about the beach, maybe you know a lot about food or your family or things that you love. So I want you to think in your head first, remember, because that's what a good writer does. And they think in their head first before they start writing. So on the top of your paper, right here, I want you to write your name. So I wrote Miss Kelly. And I want you to practice writing your name. Even if you can't write your name yet, that's okay. We're still just practicing. And over here, you're going to write the date. Today is 9/10/2020. September is the 9th month in the year, so that's why we wrote 9/10/2020 and practice writing that. Now, what I want you to do is draw a big heart on your paper because the best stories come from the heart. And inside of your heart, I want you to think of all the things you either know a lot about or something that you really love. So Miss Kelly drew a tree because I love nature. I drew a sun because I love the sun. I drew dogs because I love dogs. I drew the ocean because I love the ocean. And I also drew a pencil and paper because I know a lot about writing and I love to write too. So these are just some ideas. I want you to come up with your own. And then did you notice how I put the labels on them? I want you to try to practice writing your labels. So right here I put nature right above the tree. And then I put dogs right above the dog. So practice using your words and using your labels for it. So I'm going to show you, if you do not know, how to draw a heart. Okay? So on your journal, I want you to practice writing a heart. So first what we do is we're going to make a V. So to make a V, we do one diagonal line. Then on the other side, another diagonal line. And now you're going to do two big bumps. 1, 2. Okay? I'm going to show you one more time. To draw a heart, we're going to make our V. Diagonal line. Another diagonal line, and there's our V. And then 1 bump, 2 bumps. Now, once you have your heart in your journal, I'm going to show you a picture of mine. All right, just like this. So once you have your heart inside your journal, now I want for you to fill it with all the things you either know a lot about or that you love. So then inside here, you could draw your family, you could draw the ocean and the water, you could draw a book if you love to read books, anything that you want, that you know a lot about, or that you love. So remember what a good writer does. A good writer thinks in their head first before they write it down. All right, ready for your writing activity? I can't wait to see all of your different ideas. Great work, you guys.